Hi, my name is Andrew, and I'll be discussing the impact of political ideology on religious and ethnic minorities. My focus will be on the impact that political ideology had on the creation of anti Semitic beliefs throughout history and how it has affected Jews. Starting with the roots of anti Semitism, the first example of this was the biblical exodus of Jews from Egypt. Following this, they faced persecution in Rome from the 1st century BCE through 400 BC, which is about a 500-year period of persecution. Many labeled Jews as Christ killers, and following into 1096, which was the start of the Crusades, many Jews were massacred in Germany and the Holy Land. Going into the 15th century, starting in approximately 1391, tens of thousands of Jews were murdered in riots, and many more were forcibly converted to Christianity in Spain. This was made possible by the Alhambra Decree. All Jews were ordered to convert to Christianity or to leave Spain by July 1st, 1492, due to the Alhambra Decree. Portugal followed this soon after due to pressure from Spain. This was due to marriage negotiations that were going on between Portugal and Spain at the time. Instead of allowing the Jews to just leave Portugal as Spain did, the Portuguese just forced all the Jews to be baptized, which essentially erased Portugal's Jewish community at the time. Going into the 16th century, Jews were initially not allowed from the Venetian government to reside there. However, in the 16th century, they were allowed into Venice. But as a result of protests, ghettos were established in Venice for Jews in order to keep their economic value in Venice, but to also allow the people to not be around them because they were not welcome in Venice by the citizens. Also, a ghetto is a poor urban area occupied primarily by minorities. Martin Luther was a German priest, professor, and author. He had late writings such as On the Jews and Their Lives, which were heavily anti Semitic. For example, he called for the burning of synagogues, the destroying of Jewish homes, and the expelling of Jews from countries. His writings were later used um, by the Nazi regime to justify their hate for Jews, and they also, at the time, followed many of his beliefs. Follow- Going into the 17th century, many Jews continued to be expelled from Germany, Sweden, and France. During this time, many were forced into ghettos, they were taxed heavily, they faced discrimination, and they also faced targeted violence as a result of discrimination. Fortunately, they were unofficially allowed back in England in 1656 after initially being exiled in 1290. Going into the 18th century, which was the Enlightenment era, this era brought many new ideas, but also included many new anti Semitic beliefs. For example, Voltaire, which was a French philosopher, he was a very reputable person during this time, very well known in France because of his advocacy against tyranny, bigotry, and cruelty. However, despite this, Voltaire had a unjust hatred for Jews, not just for their political or religious stances, but he flat out believed that they were innately just a degraded people. The first steps towards Jewish emancipation was in 1789. This was the first time that France had discussed the possibility of granting Jews full citizenship. This came to reality when, in 1791, Jews gained full civil rights in France. They were the first country in Europe to do so. Following this, going into the 19th century, many European states granted Jews the same civil rights as France. such as the right to vote, to own property, to join professions, and also live outside ghettos. Germany, Austria, and Hungary, and Italy were some of the countries that followed. However, as Jews gained rights, their resentment, their resentment for them grew. Instead of being hated for their religious differences, this hate shifted to racial and economic hate. Many Christians view Jewish people just as a threat to national security in general. The Dreyfus Affair was a trial held against Captain Alfred Dreyfus, who was a Jewish officer in the French army. He was found falsely accused of treason. However, he was found guilty. This trial revealed deep anti-Semitic beliefs in the French military and the public. In the 20th century, this was when the Holocaust took place, which was the killing of 6 million Jews, and they were systematically persecuted and murdered during this time by the Nazi regime and its allies. These Jews were falsely accused of causing Germany's social, economic, and political problems. For example, Hitler, which was the leader of the Nazi regime during this time, he blamed them for Germany's defeat in World War One. Many Jews were killed via gas chambers. They did not receive proper burials. Many of their bodies were just buried on top of one another. And before they were killed or moved to a different camp, they had to live in very horrid conditions, as you can see in the photo, which were very tight. They were unhygienic, and it looks like something out of a horror movie. It is not good. This is my bibliography, and I hope you enjoy my presentation. Thank you for listening.